Grand Theft Auto 4 was the end of April 2008.
Yep.
Just the first next-gen GTA, no biggie there. This is a series that had exploded on the PlayStation 2, eventually came to Xbox during that same
So
time.
many pixels.
We got 3 games in the PS2 era, of course, 3,
Yep.
which catapulted the whole thing, Vice City, and then San Andreas, which literally took the scale of it to another level. And here we go on the 360 and the PS3 with Grand Theft Auto 4, which is back in Liberty City, a.k.a. New York City. What do we remember about Grand Theft Auto 4?
I remember lushness. I think it was Tycho from Penny Arcade who said that you could eat off of GTA 3. GTA 3. It was so clean and abstract,
sure.
because the
The
technology
lines were
was
so
still
defined.
The technology was still developing. GTA 4 felt like a city. It felt like a place where people actually lived. It felt much more like an immersive world. It was, I think, actually maybe a little smaller than San Andreas.
Oh, absolutely
Yeah,
it was.
but it was a much richer place to
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
And I
Much
loved
more
that
dense.
about it. Exactly. Also, the mechanics were improved in almost every way by the game. A much more serious story that worked. Not all.
To a point.
Yeah, it worked well enough for me.
Well, that's what
yeah.
jumps out at me about it is the maturation of this franchise, where it's still very much like skewering America, and but that's sort of pushed to the background with stuff like the Pisswasser billboards and
The jingle was so
like
good.
it becomes kind of more like when GTA 3 and Vice City were cartoons. That sort of a parody aspect of it is sort of pushed to the sideline and lets them tell sort of a serious story about being an immigrant in America, and I thought it worked mostly. I think 5 did an even better job of it in several years, but I'm glad that they had that they chose that they had the ambition to try to execute on something like that, and I think they were able to.
Yeah, I think it too, like just seeing, sort of going with the theme of like how ambitious the game it was. I mean, looking at just the scope of that, like the fact that it's, it's not 1-to-1 obviously, but it is almost it's a rough approximation of the entire like Isle of Manhattan, and it's phenomenal. Like I still remember I would play, like not even doing stories or missions, just like driving around in circles, causing chaos through like Times Square and then the Village and then Queens. It was massive.
I'm with you there. I liked the story, but most of the way I play GTA is wandering around just to get dirty in that world.
Yeah.
And GTA 4 might have done that better than any of them. I still feel like that tight Liberty City was one of the most impressive things Rockstar's ever put together. I really like that aspect of it. So much so that when it was, the secret best thing we ever got into GTA 4 was they remapped that city for Chinatown Wars, which is my favorite GTA.
Yep.
And it's a one-for-one of the Liberty City seen from the top down. I love that. It was such a good design that it worked even when you completely move the camera to a different place.
I have a vivid memory of just passing the controller back and forth, playing this with my best friend Robert, and we would just go and turn on the in-game TV, and there were these in-game TV shows that were hilarious.
Yeah.
Just unbelievably funny, and then poking around the in-game internet where the cursor was a middle finger, and it was the layers of humor in the game were just, I can't even imagine. They probably had a 10 people just working on that for 3 years.
And speaking of picking it up with your friend, this was also a game that doubled down on multiplayer.
It was the first time we'd ever gotten multiplayer in a Grand Theft Auto game.
Exactly. And really, I think the framework, when they saw people running around years after that game came out, I mean, this is the genesis of GTA Online.
Absolutely.
This continually supported world. They're like, wow, if people are just going to keep playing, what if we just kept building more stuff onto it? I mean, GTAO had a rough start, to say the least, but it has become something unprecidented.
I mean, it's almost its own game at this point.
Well, we covered
is,
in our 2013 episode, but you mentioned. You guys remember back when Major Nelson used to publish a weekly list of the most played games on Xbox Live?
Yeah.
GTA 4 was at or near the top of that list for, I think, at least 3 or 4 years after the game came out. I mean, and people weren't even necessarily playing the multiplayer modes. Just the free roam, as you guys were talking about, just
screwing around,
messing around and causing chaos with your friends was just unbelievable. This game made $310 million in revenue in its first day, which we'll talk about GTA 5 decimating that later, but $500 million in its first week, $500 million. It had been delayed, as you guys might remember, from fall of 2007.
Oh, yeah.
It was supposed to come out in October of 2007, did not. It was not ready. And then the other fun thing about this for me is, fun fact, which I remember, but I bet a lot of the younger viewers do not, is the game engine that this was built on, Rage, Rockstar Advanced
Yeah.
Game Engine. It was sort of purpose-built for what would ultimately be all of the Rockstar games,
Yeah.
but it was really intended for Grand Theft Auto first. Rockstar released a game before this,
Just
about a
to
year
test this
before this,
engine.
literally as a test of the engine. You may remember it. It was called Rockstar Table Tennis.
It was a
which was
solid
pretty
table
good.
tennis.
I like table
Yeah.
tennis.
Pretty good.
Just
It's
the other
great.
day, I found the Wii version of table tennis for 99 cents and picked it up.
Rockstar Table
Not
Tennis
Wii
is-
Tennis.
Oh, Rockstar Table Tennis. Rockstar Table Tennis
Oh.
was ported to the Wii, and I found a used copy for $1. I didn't know that
See,
either.
it's funny because when I had been out of the gaming news loop for a long time, and when somebody said to me like, "Hey man, the new GTA is out like today," I was like, "What?" I ran back to my apartment, hopped on Craigslist, willing to trade Nintendo Wii 5 games for a 360.
Yeah.
And like the next day, somebody showed up. Like it was the
And
sketchiest
mugged
thing
you
on earth.
and took
I-
your kidney and left you in a
He
bathtub
gave me an
full of
Xbox
ice.
out the trunk of his car. I gave him a Wii and like Twilight Princess or some Zelda game and like
It was a
couple
good
other
deal
things.
for you.
And then I immediately went down to the GameStop down the street and was like, "Give me GTA 4 right now."
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Absolutely
just
solid game. Chinatown Wars. Play it, kids.
slipping that in there. I like
Absolutely.
that.
Really,
Well
really
done.
love them Chinatown.
Oh, this game's great. It's built on that Liberty City